I knew I'd heard that before. Am I incapable of having an original idea? Damn it!
I don't even know who I am. I'm a nobody.
Well, since I've got nothing else good to vlog today, I guess I should say welcome to the first ever episode of the Thorough Evaluation of Coolness, Tuesdays. Today on Thorough Examination of Cool Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the GoPro Hero5. It's unexpectedly my best friend when it comes to making these YouTube videos and filmmaking in general. Let's dive into the specs and the things that I do and don't like about it. The GoPro Hero5 Black was released in 2016, September of that year. Now here's the thing with GoPros, and this is the thing that made me hesitant to buy one in the first place. In general, whenever you see GoPro footage, it has a certain GoPro look in the fact that it is an extremely wide lens angle, right? That makes GoPros really great for adventure filming because you're able to take in a lot of the exterior. But if you're trying to make something with the traditional vlog or film look, that wide angle is just gonna take your viewer right out of the immersion of whatever video you're making. And they're immediately going to know that it's a GoPro. The thing is, with GoPros nowadays, they have a linear mode. And after looking into them and doing research, I realized that that linear mode is going to make it worth my buy. Here's why. The linear mode shoots like any normal camera would. It looks like, I'd say just visually, it looks like a maybe 15mm. So again, it is a very, very wide angle, but you're not gonna have that warp and distortion that the GoPro look is known for. Now the problem with the GoPro Hero5 is that the linear field of view limits it to a 1080p resolution. For most things, especially YouTube, this isn't a big deal. 1080p still looks absolutely fine. Most people don't even have 4K monitors, so they won't be able to tell the difference. In the wide or narrow field of view, you're able to shoot up to 120 FPS, which means in edit, you can slow that down for some nice, smooth, slow-mo footage. However, again, you run into that problem of losing the ideal field of view, which would be linear for filmmakers. But if you're an adventurer and you want to shoot in the wide field of view, 120 frames per second, baby. Can't get much better than that. One of the most important things for me when I was picking out a GoPro or any camera equipment in general is the price. I'm a student, money is important, and I don't have much of it, so paying $400 for the newest model of GoPro, which now is the GoPro Hero 8, well, that's not ideal. Luckily, the GoPro Hero 5 you can still get on Amazon and pretty much anywhere else, and usually it comes in around $125 to $150. The good thing is, even at this lower price, in 2020, the Hero 5 can still compete. With how much I use this thing and the ridiculously sensible price point that it comes in at nowadays, it's definitely worth a look or a buy for anybody who wants a secondary camera or wants to have the flexibility of having a waterproof and small pocket camera. Here's a great reason to get the GoPro right here. Right in the pocket, no problem at all. I can't exactly, well, this doesn't really work. As for the other specs, of course it is 100% waterproof unless, well, you don't want to drop it in the ocean, but it would be gone anyway. Under normal circumstances, the battery life should never ever be a concern. This thing has an insane battery life. And if you want to hear about any of the other smaller specifications of it, I'm not going to pretend to care, so I'll throw it up on the screen and a link below if you want to check that out. The fact of the matter is, you've probably already done your research on this and you're just looking for opinions. So let's get into the ways I use this, how often I use this, and whether I think it was a worthwhile purchase. As a YouTuber, a vlogger, or a filmmaker, there's no denying that the more cameras you have in your pocket, the better. And after owning this GoPro for a little over a year, I've found that to be completely true. Before I had it, there were some times where I had the DSLR sitting there, taking a time lapse, and I was just thinking about how I could get a different time lapse with a different camera and not be wasting a ton of time. And as it turns out, the GoPro Hero 5, in my experience, has a fantastic time lapse mode. I can't count the number of times I've stuck it in a tree or on top of the car just to get an extra time lapse in case I need one in the edit, and then that's the main time lapse that I end up using instead of the one that I captured on my DSLR. So if you like taking time lapses, this here is your boy. The other main thing that I use this camera for a lot is when I'm driving. Obviously, it's not safe to have a DSLR vlogging camera set up while you're driving. Not to mention, if you hit a corner a little bit too fast, you could be sending many thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment tumbling around your back seat in the car. With the GoPro, you're able to just stick it in the dash or even hold it in your teeth while you're driving and get that like driving view without really having to worry about taking your eyes off the road because, of course, safety is the #1 priority. Finally, of course, I use the GoPro to get some shots of maybe pouring water over something, or I'll toss it in a bag and then you'll be able to see me reaching into the bag because the GoPro is small enough to fit in said bag where DSLRs would never. But don't worry, you didn't just click on this video to see me kiss GoPro's butt the entire time. There's a couple of things that really irritate me about the GoPro Hero 5. For one, it doesn't have an automatic off function, so in case you forget to turn this baby off when you're done with it, in about an hour you'll hear a beep 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 coming from your backpack, and that'll be the GoPro running out of battery. Now I understand, of course, this function for filming because you want to be able to stick the GoPro on your head and go for a long bike ride, but it would be very nice to have an automatic off function built in if the camera is just sitting there idle and not recording. Now the only other real problem that I have with this GoPro, and I don't think they've even improved this in future GoPros because it's almost impossible with the product itself, but the audio is really, really bad. It's not bad like muffled, it's bad that if I hold the camera out and I'm talking, somehow you're gonna hear every single time my finger picks up or down or whatever on the camera. It's definitely not an audio recording device because it comes in and out of clarity, and while it's not designed for that, it's designed to be a standalone camera. It would be nice to have some audio that maybe I could pull out of it just for some background noise every once in a while. But as it stands, all of the audio that comes off of this GoPro is completely unusable. In the traditional filmmaking or YouTube making sense, at least. The ability to just have pretty much a bulletproof camera on hand is fantastic. And while I might have had my reservations about it to begin with, I can't count the number of times I've used this and thought, boy, I'm glad I have a GoPro.